A school in Hartlepool is asking parents to ensure their daughters wear tights with their school uniform, black ones and at least 40 denier to protect their modesty and safety. So what do we think? Is this sensible, or is it wrong to suggest that what the girl wears affects their safety?
Well, I think they're referring to the journey on the way to school. I think as a school goes, I think if there's a strict uniform code, then once they're past the school gates and they're inside the school, then it is up to the school board to decide on what they should wear. And I think children need to be presentable, and I think it's sensible for girls' skirts to be at least sort of knee-high. Of course, if the skirts are really short, then they're showing more flesh, so they need to be covered. So that's a tricky one. But they're referring to actually the journey to and from school, which is maybe from the school's point of view, it would be advisable to give that advice to parents as to, you know, what might be safer for your child. But at the end of the day, it's really down to the parents to decide what their children should and should not wear on the streets.
But should we be giving that advice to girls, or should we be giving advice to our boys to be respectful of girls and show some respect?
Well, both. I think boys need to be taught from a young age, just like young children in general, about life outside of the protection of parents and school. I had a very unfortunate incident. Sorry.
Oh,
Right. Sorry.
Well, let's move. We'll come back to that. Come back to that.
I mean,
Sherry,
it was
what do you
okay.
think?
It was a journey into school, and I was attacked. It was nothing about the way I looked. I could have been in a short skirt, or I could have had, you know, thick tights on. It wouldn't have mattered. I normally would travel to school with a group of children, which is, if you want to put a message out there for children to be safe, it's about
travelling
in groups. Safety in numbers, whether you're sending your child to the toilets, make sure they go with someone else,
but
not just by themselves.
Isn't the problem, Penny, that a lot of children travel alone to school, like I did? I had to cross London alone every single day, 45 minutes each way, from the age of 14.
Parents are encouraged to do carpools, you know, so that's better for the environment, going in groups rather than, you know, a million cars travelling on the roads. But children should definitely be advised to not travel alone. Unfortunately, it was a morning where I'd been choir practice the day before, and they allowed me to go into school later. And, I was attacked under a subway, and I managed to, being tall and strong, and I managed to fight this man off who had pulled my skirt up and wrestled with me. And it was a few weeks later that I was in an undercover police car outside what they thought was the man that attacked me. And because I was the oldest at the age of 12 who had given the same description of this man, and unfortunately it wasn't him. But there are a lot of evil men out there that will prey on young girls, and it doesn't matter what they wear, so they shouldn't be to blame as to whether they were being encouraged or not. Sorry.
Well, it's really brave of you to tell that story.
Around all this, you're quite right that there are people who are going to prey on young girls no matter what they wear. But do you not think maybe, yes, young girls should have the right to wear exactly what they like, but maybe trousers are a good idea?
Yeah,
why is it that more schools don't insist that their girls wear trousers?
Because you know what, also, no matter what you say to a girl or kids, you know, if you try to enforce something, they'll go against you, won't they? Any kid, if you go, you've got to wear tights, they go, really? Well, as soon as you put the tights on, they get to it and they're off. You know, it's like when they wear skirts, you know, you say to the knee, they'll roll them up. Did you all roll your skirts up? Of course you did.
No, I did the same thing. My uniform skirt was sort of brown and baggy and not very attractive and below my knee. And I remember my mum would take it up for me to my knee, so it wasn't kind of risque. And I agree with schools if the uniform skirts, I don't think, so many of them are so short. If they bend over to pick something up, I mean, it's just...
But you know what? They're not actually made that short. No. The kids are rolling them up. I mean, I spent my life going to Kira, wow, that shrunk overnight in the wash.
I think like you said earlier about educating boys, I think girls and boys just need to be educated of the dangers. You know, obviously we get educated a lot about the dangers on the internet.
Yes.
But it's still out there on the streets.
But like you just said it, actually. It doesn't matter whether you've got tights on or socks on.
Yeah.
The tights won't make any difference.
Not to a man like that.
No,
the
but you've
girl-
got to make sure they know
girls
about
need
the
to be
danger.
girls need to be aware, and I know that when I trot across London all by myself and I had to change trains and there was a long walk involved, when I walked back from the tube station to my house, I was fearful and I had nightmares for 2 years, but I didn't want to tell my parents because I didn't want to change schools either. So I was, you know, 14 years old, and now as the nights are getting darker, and if you stay after school to do any activities after school, then you're going home in darkness, and it's not good to walk home by yourself if you're a young
But then
girl.
we have these discussions all the time about we should be making our kids, you know, we mollycoddle our kids too much, and we should be making them walk more and become independent. But it's hard when you hear stories like Penny's.
It is, but don't you think, for instance, in school they should have these conversations with all the girls and all the boys together and say, look, this is what the world is like. And it sounds quite naive to say that, but isn't that a good idea from being very young?
Absolutely. Teaching them from a very young age to have respect for one another
and
and
wear
understand
tights.
Yeah,